Hello friends, welcome to this week's video. This week we celebrated the feast of St. James, the Apostle.
Finn, what are we going to do for my feast day? We can walk the Camino de Santiago de Compostela. My name is James Martin. Not only do I share my name with a famous chef, James is also my granddad's name, and I was named after him. He's a great dad to my mom and auntie, and a super granddad to me. I'm very proud to be named after him.
Santiago de Compostela, this pilgrim's path we trod, we received the rain as blessing, the sun has praise from God.
As many of you will know, St. James is especially venerated in Spain. There are hundreds of people who travel from around the world, walking hundreds of kilometers to venerate the relics of St. James in the cathedral in Compostela.
This is everything he had when we found him.
What happened?
It was an accident. The weather in the Pyrenees is famous for being unpredictable, and I'm sure Daniel would have been warned by the locals. You are not close with him?
Not since his mother died, I'm sorry to say. What was he doing out there?
He was on pilgrimage on the Camino, walking the road to Santiago de Compostela. People from very different backgrounds, faith and generations have walked the path from here in the French Pyrenees to Santiago de Compostela. 800 kilometers on the northwestern coast of Spain for over 1,000 years. We believers are told that the remains of St. James are interned there. And so we make pilgrimage. This is what your son Daniel was doing.
Why was he alone?
Many people choose to make the trek alone. The way is a very personal journey, Mr. Avery. This is the shell, the symbol of the pilgrim making the journey. This is Daniel's passport for the Camino. It is to be officially stamped at every important stop along the route through Spain. And the first stamp is here, in Saint-Jean.
Buen camino.
Merci.
When you arrive at the end, the passport should look like this. I have walked the Camino to the Atlantic Ocean 3 times, there and back. I will do it once more on my 70th birthday. God willing, of course.
So I know someone who has done this pilgrimage. So let's go and see what he has to say.
Hello everybody, my name is Pete and Father John has asked me to share a little about my Camino. And for those of you that aren't familiar, the Camino is a 500-mile pilgrimage across Spain to Santiago de Compostela, which is the final resting place of St. James the Apostle. I was at a bit of a crossroads in my life and I felt I needed time and space to discern my life's path. I'm sure some of you have felt like this at times in your life. But out of nowhere, this idea came into my mind to walk the Camino, and it really just took over. It just seemed like the right thing to do, and in a moment of spontaneity, I booked some flights, bought some boots, and 6 days later, I was in a French village called Saint-Jean, ready to walk the way. And I've never been much of a walker, a bit of a challenge, but I just dived right in. I would get up at 7 a.m, walk all day, find somewhere to eat, find a hostel to sleep, and then I would wake up the next morning and do it all over again. And this might sound monotonous and challenging and draining, but actually it was incredible. And I think what makes it so special is the people. People from all over. I met people from Canada, the USA, Brazil, Denmark, Germany, Belgium, Spain, Australia, South Korea, New Zealand. Everyone has a reason for walking the Camino, and it was the first question we would ask each other. You'd meet someone on the road and say, "So, why are you out here?" And that's an incredibly personal question, and you don't know what the answer might be. You don't know what people have brought with them on the Camino. But people were incredibly open and honest, and we would talk with relative strangers really openly. We would joke it was the cheapest therapy we'd ever get, but it was more than that. You know, it gave me this incredible perspective of the world, and that I would never have got from just living in my own bubble. You know, I would walk with these people for maybe an hour or two, maybe a day or two. You know, and these encounters with people, they really challenged me, but they also really inspired me. And I would leave each encounter, you know, enriched by it, and it was an incredibly uplifting time. I was on the road for 4 weeks, and the sights are absolutely incredible. You've got the Pyrenees Mountains, you've got the cities of Pamplona and Burgos, you've got the vineyards of La Rioja, you've got 6 days of walking across the flatlands of Spain, you've got the hills of Galicia, and then it culminates in the city of Santiago de Compostela and this stunning cathedral. The cathedral is famous for its thurible called the Botafumeiro, and it's the biggest one in the world. And instead of it just being sort of swung by one person, it's on a big rope and suspended above everybody, and it takes 6 people pulling this rope. And the reason it's so big is that for over 1,000 years, pilgrims have been coming to Santiago. After months walking there, people would arrive maybe quite smelly. So to keep the cathedral smelling nice, they made the biggest incense burner they could. I got my Compostela, which is the certificate, and I came home. But I realized it was never really about the destination. It was never about the accomplishment. It was about the journey. The journey is what really matters. I think our lives are journeys. They are pilgrimages, and we are journeying towards God. And what really matters is that journey. And I'm just trying to live every day of my life like I did when I was on the Camino. Thank you very much. Buen Camino.
So, we've seen what Pete had to say. This week, our Poor Clare sisters have done the Camino Way around their garden. Let's go and have a look and see what they've been up to.
Santiago de Compostela, this pilgrim's path we trod, we received the rain as blessing, the sun has praise from God. No longer do we count the miles to reach this field of stars. The journey is its own reward, and worship fills the hours. Santiago, 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 pray for me as I walk upon your Camino, searching for my destiny. believe the rain is blessing, the sun has praise from God. No longer do we count the miles to reach this field of stars. The journey is its own reward, and worship fills the hours. Santiago, 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 pray for me as I walk upon your camino, searching for my destiny.
Camino, I'm already resting.
So, my friends, having seen Pete's pilgrimage and our sister's pilgrimage, you too can walk your own pilgrimage of faith. You can walk with Christ on your pilgrimage. And you can do that in your own garden, your own park, your own nature reserve, or wherever that pilgrimage may lead you. But always remember, when you're walking with Christ. I'm going for my pilgrimage. Bye.